Hey, ladies and lurkers, Chloe here, and welcome back to my channel. And if you are new here, what a time to be alive, and thank you for tuning in. So, I wanted to have a conversation and to share a few words of commentary to speak to a very common and overly used talking point and shaming tactic and shaming tactics. And for those of you who don't know what a shaming tactic is, a shaming tactic is a mental and oppressive mental intimidation strategy that is used to get other people to fall in line as a part of a larger agenda. And this collective shaming often happens when the topics of hypergamy, becoming a feminine woman, and being provided for are taking center stage. And I've noticed that there is a very strong take precaution wind and a very enduring foothold and a very rehashed and repetitive and very limited school of thought that runs in extremes when it comes to women being independent and self sufficient, and when it comes to a woman, quote unquote, having her own, as compared to a feminine woman who is hypergamous, who is being provided for by a high value man. And the general consensus with many modern women of today is usually that a woman should have her own and that a woman should never ever depend on a man for anything, and that a woman should always be responsible for pulling her own weight. And this very cliched and lack of nuance advice also comes with the ever predictable suggestion that a man who provides for a woman is a man who is intentful and hell bent on using and abusing and discarding women and leaving women penniless and destitute. Or that when a man is providing for a woman, or if a woman is hypergamous to the bone, like myself, which is why you need to subscribe to this channel, that it means that she is sitting on her buns and doing absolutely nothing all day but twiddling her thumbs. And my question to those of you who are listening and ear hustling is, why does a man providing for a woman automatically mean that a man is going to abuse you, abandon you, and leave you for dead? And I find that a lot of women who depend on this overused and played out talking point are less trying to warn women about the fiscal dangers of men or men who financially abuse women, and are more interested in reinforcing stereotypical shaming tactics that often end up discouraging women out of their feminine potential and their feminine understanding. And the have your own money speech is a commonly weaponized form of a shaming tactic used to frighten women, particularly black women, out of the simple wisdom that it is a man's job to provide. And this institutionalized and very limited advice also allows men and sons and uncles and brothers who are often raised by women to possess a certain level of off the hook freedom from the dire consequences of not protecting or providing or taking care of a family or securing a legacy. Because women are often too busy, and I hate to say it, they are too busy wagging their judgmental fingers trying to reinforce the social engineering of the Mule agenda, particularly for black women, amongst each other. And the have your own topic was most recently discussed over on the gram at Hypergamous Hive when reality TV personality Juju Castaneda made an Instagram post discussing with her followers the importance of a woman having her own bag and having her own money, and of course, followed up with the never depend on a man for nothing trope. But this recycled and redundant advice, ladies, has been rehashed over and over and over again ad nauseum about women having their own, particularly towards black women. And Juju's advice is what I call one trick pony girl talk advice. And this quote unquote advice has groomed generations upon generations of women to expect very little from men. And the have your own mindset dogma has also given a lot of wiggle room for the collective of men, particularly black men, to skirt their collective responsibilities as men, especially in the last 30 years, and some would argue much, much longer. Because no one, absolutely no one, is collectively pressuring or shaming men for not providing as much as black women in particular are collectively shamed for not having 82 jobs and 34 side hustles. Now, before you come for me, I have nothing against the gorgeous Juju Castaneda, and before you lurkers rush to the comment section with your outrage, of course there is nothing inherently wrong with Juju's message. But the focus of this video here is the redundancy and the heard it all before repetitive messaging that is overdone and played out and tired. But I find that the a woman must have her own conversation has been extra peddled and parroted to death towards black women, and that the conversation of a woman having her own needs to be painted with a broader perspective. Ladies, of course, a woman should have her own, and you will never hear any different on this channel. But I am sorry, and this may be very triggering to hear for some women who are listening, but black women in particular have been overeducated and browbeaten and shamed to the core on how to be independent women, because as black women, we have been hearing this message of having our own since the late 60s, early 70s. So black women in essence have been hearing this reinforced message for the last 50 years. And at this point, telling a black woman to have her own is beating a very cliche dead horse, because black women know this already. But what black women often don't know is that they have been engineered to be masculine and overly self-reliant at their own expense. And what black women aren't used to hearing is the other side of the equation, is that it is a man's job to provide as a standard. And if black women were constantly fed a corrective narrative of a man providing instead of the shaming and weaponized narrative of having her own, then there will be less and less women out here practicing role reversal and buying J's for men and spending their hard-earned money trying to impress lazy and shiftless men. And you wouldn't have women out here buying grown men rental properties, and you would have less and less women who believe that a man paying a light bill is the equivalent of a man providing and a man doing his best. But an even sadder truth is that the collective of black men in particular are now browbeaten or collectively shamed for their failure to provide and protect, as much as black women in particular are collectively shamed for even thinking or dreaming about wanting to be provided for by a man. And this one-sided and one-dimensional conversation needs to evolve and grow so that black women can learn how to win in ways that will benefit them and their offspring financially, by being provided for as a standard, instead of constantly hearing the rehashed and cliched advice of depending on no one except themselves. And for the record, before this video ends, men who physically, emotionally, mentally, and financially abuse women are not abusers because they have money, and they are not abusers because they hold the purse strings. Men who abuse, and this is for my hard of hearing in the back, men who abuse because they are insecure and crazy and deranged and emotionally disordered, and they are missing French fries from their Happy Meal. Men do not magically turn into the controlling boogeyman because they are breadwinners. Ladies, money does not change the core nor the character of who a man is. That is not how having money works. The only thing that having money will do to a man is make him more of who he already is. So men who abuse ladies will abuse you whether they are rich, middle class, working poor, or dusty. So as women, particularly black women, we have got to stop this guilt tripping and the negative association of a man having money and wealth and equating it to a man who lives to abuse, control, and dominate. Because trust and believe that there are plenty of dusty and broke men that are out here giving independent women who have their own plenty of black eyes and a busted lip every day. So that's all I have to say on this for now. Ladies, it is time for a conversation upgrade on being independent and having your own, while at the same time learning how to dwell comfortably in your feminine and learning how to accept being provided for as a standard without fear or shame or intimidation or ridicule. So now it's your turn to sound off. Why do you feel that women are shamed and bullied out of wanting to be provided for? And if a woman is doing everything for herself, what exactly are the men supposed to be doing? Drop your thoughts in your comments on whether you liked or disliked this video below, and stay tuned for more videos to come, and I will catch up with you ladies and you lurkers in the next one.